Tuesday, March 13th, and it's 7 o'clock p.m. Roll call, please.
Barco?
Here.
Kunkelman?
Here.
Manson?
Here.
Kavarchi? Here. Stahl?
Here.
Please join me and stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. There is a flag up above the lawn. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. This meeting is the meeting of the Board of Education in public for the purpose of conducting the school district's business, and is not to be considered a public community meeting. There is a time for public participation during the meeting as indicated in the agenda. Approval of the minutes. Resolved that the Buckeye Board of Education approve the minutes for the special and regular meetings of February 13th and February 26th. A motion, please.
So moved. Second.
Any questions or comments on those minutes? Roll call.
Barco?
Yes.
Kavarchi?
Yes.
Manson?
Yes.
Stahl?
Yes.
Kunkelman?
Yes. Recommendation statement. Following our recommendations that have been identified for approval as part of the consent agenda for this meeting. If a board member wishes to remove any item from this agenda for further discussion prior to taking action, please let either the superintendent or board president know. We are removing, under the superintendent's recommendations, item N, which is approval of out-of-country field trip. And we are removing from new business, item A, approval of the BSN Sports Corporate Sponsorship Agreement. Is there anything else? Approval of the consent agenda. Resolved that the Buckeye Board of Education approve the consent agenda of March 13th with those deletions. A motion, please.
Motion.
Second.
Second.
Any other comments? Roll call.
Stahl?
Yes.
Manson?
Yes.
Kavarchi? Yes. Barco?
Yes.
Kunkelman?
Yes. Mr. Morgan, special guest.
Okay, well, thank you all for coming this evening. We have a number of students that we want to recognize that have done an outstanding job of representing Buckeye in the area community as well as across the state. We want to really thank them for their hard work and their efforts here, and I'm looking forward to recognizing them tonight. We're going to start off with our Students of the Month, and if we could start off with Ms. Hartwell.
Is Austin here playing? I think we get to do two tonight. Ms. Snap can't be here, so I get to say good. I'm going to start with primary student of the month. I am so pleased to present, and look how handsome he is, Wesley Reuter. Did I say that right? Wesley has shown great improvement in his reading and math skills. Now he will often ask to read his current book to classroom staff and friends. Reading excites him as he continues to climb in his reading level. Wesley has also shown improvements in math and doesn't hesitate to ask questions if he doesn't understand a concept. He does not give up and keeps trying until he can do math on his own successfully. Wesley is a friend to many students and always willing to help. His smile brightens our day. Ms. Erb had those wonderful things to say, and it's been a pleasure to see him grow. And he was awesome in the Reader's Theater that many of us got to see. Congratulations, Wesley. I'm also very pleased to present the Intermediate Student of the Month, Austin Green. And Mrs. Betrick has wonderful things to say about him. When asked who would be an example of a student that represents Buckeye in a positive way, I had to look no further than Austin Green. From the beginning of this school year, Austin has been a wonderful student for many reasons. First of all, he always has such a positive attitude with his peers and with his teachers. As I've got to know Austin this year, he has also shown his humorous and kind side to everyone he comes across. He's always willing to help other students and myself without ever being asked. I'm very proud and impressed at how well he manages to maintain such great grades while pursuing his skills as a hockey player. Really? I'm so fortunate to have the opportunity to work with a fantastic and hardworking student such as Austin this year.
I'm Mr. Flood, and at the junior high with me this evening is Miss Casey Cash. The junior high is proud to recognize Casey as our student of the month. An excellent student and school citizen. Casey is always ready with a smile for her peers and her teachers, as you can see. Casey works hard in her academics, achieving excellent scores and going above and beyond in the area of the classroom. Performing well in the classroom, though, is not where she necessarily just ends her day. She is involved with volleyball as well as softball, where she's been playing softball for a number of years. She is a first baseman and a third baseman. She's also involved with Stand By Me and can be found riding horses at a local barn near her neighborhood. She serves breakfasts with her grandmother at the Ronald McDonald House in Cleveland every year around Christmas time. And she says the favorite thing about being at the junior high is the teachers. Miss Casey Cash.
It's my pleasure to introduce to you our two students of the month from high school. First is Sienna Bernheim. Sienna is currently ranked number 10 in her class overall. Currently, she's enrolled in AP Euro, AP Lit, AP Calc, and took AP Government last year. So, a lot of AP. Sienna is co-founder and leader of Blanket Buddies, which raises money to make tie blankets, which are filled with toothpaste and toys for needy children. Sienna is a library and teacher's aide. Sienna is a member of the women's bowling team and had the second highest average on the team this past year. Sienna enjoys spending time with friends and reading her favorite book, which is The Perks of Being a Wallflower. Only that. Over and over. Sienna is considering Washington and Jefferson College in PA to study political science. Ladies and gentlemen, members of the board, Ms. Sienna Bernheim. Our second student of the month is Mr. Greg Dobson. Greg is a senior and is currently ranked 15th in the senior class. Greg is a member of the Buckeye High School Pep Band, participated in the Lodi Community Church Community Connection, and is a member of the Lodi Community Church Worship Team. Greg was involved in Buckeye Boys State while taking AP Government, AP Lit, AP Chemistry, AP English, and AP European History. Greg has had perfect attendance while in high school. And was named most improved JV soccer player his sophomore year and played trumpet in the marching band. Greg would like to attend college to study chemical engineering. Ladies and gentlemen, members of the board, I present you Mr. Greg Dobson.
Next up, we have Janice Kohler is going to introduce our Buckeye Geography Bee participants and our Buckeye Spelling Bee participants.
Yeah, I know. I'm waiting for the students to come forward. Otherwise, it's just me. All right, we'll do geography B first. This is Nick Stanzi, and I always say it wrong. Sorry, I always do that to Grace too. I have to do that every time. We also have Brian Rapanda, who couldn't be here this evening, but both of these boys won at their school level geography B. So they were asked questions about many places in the world, countries, oceans, continents, even some history type questions. So he won for the junior high, and he then competed in an online test against all the other school winners across Ohio. And Nick will be going down to Columbus in April to compete against, I'm not sure exactly how many other students, but quite a few, with a chance to go to Washington, D.C. for the National Geographic B competition. So, round of applause for Nick. Excellent. All right, and here we have some of our representatives for the spelling bee, which again was held at the intermediate school. So 6th graders competed at the school level, as well as 7th and 8th graders with the opportunity to compete at the county, which was February 13th. And at the county B, Sophia was in our top 6 at the county level and had the opportunity to go to the regionals, which was held in Akron on just this past Saturday. And unfortunately, she didn't get the chance to go to Washington, D.C., but this was the first time in a while we've had a Buckeye representative make it to the Akron Regional, and that is something to really be proud of. So, round of applause. Miss Anna. Deanna's not here, Meyerhoff. And we have Peyton, and we also have Mia, I'm going to say it wrong too, but I think it's Usanovic, who would be our other intermediate winner. So I would get these to them. So thank you so much.
Next we have Mr. Ryan Kearns with the Buckeye 64th Scholastic Arts Award participants. And Mr. Ruffin.
The Scholastics and Governor Show has 2 competitions that we compete on, a state level and a national level. Scholastics, this was the first year that a Buckeye student has ever made the cover, and they've been doing this for 64 years. Allison Carver. Also, I found out today at 3 o'clock that she won a National Silver Award. To put that in perspective, there was 330,000 entries to Scholastics, and she was in the top 2,700. So 0.008%. So she was also, last year, she was top 300 in the state in the Governor's Show, and she just won the Medina Art League Scholarship for her portfolio pieces. Helena Beck had 2 pieces move on to state. We'll show those in a little bit. Sarah Burkett, who was top 25 in state 2016, had 2 pieces, 2 paintings, 1 graphic move on. Hannah Dyer, she had 2 ceramic works, and she won a silver key in Scholastics. James Kuzer, he was a state finalist with 2 pieces in the Governor's Show. Allison Hill had 1 drawing series that made it to the Governor's Show. Isabella Allen had 1 state piece and painting, and Betsy Slay had 2 pieces in the Governor's Show last year at the Governor's level, 2nd level. We'll go to the next one. Caitlin Davis, I want to also thank a lot of the students that participated. It takes a lot of courage and fortitude to be an artist, and each one of these students display these characteristics. Caitlin Davis, Cody Severico, Garrett Priestley, Gina Zimpala, Danielle Barnhart, Aiden Dalton, Georgia Good, Sydney Kerr, Nico Allen, Caseyana Cerrone, Coral Gibson, Cameron Kimball, Tyler Lanastra, and Nicholas Scoundrel. This right here is the Scholastics, 64th Annual Scholastics Show. You can move on, Mr. Lutman, just roll through them. There's Carver at the show with her flyer. This is the cover that she got. And those are some of her works at the Governor Show and at the at the Scholastics Art Show. This is Sarah Burkett and I at the Governor Show last year, or 2 years ago, with her piece that was a top 25 piece in the state. There's about 17,000 entries into the state, and she was ranked in the top 25 that year.
As a freshman.
As a freshman, yeah. Yeah, so these are some examples of Allison Carver's work that made it to the National Scholastic Show. Some examples of Sarah Burkett's work that made it to state this year. Her digital drawing, sketchbook drawing, also made it to state. These are both of the pieces from Helena Beck that made it on to state this year. And this is Hannah's piece, Serpent. And Hannah's piece, Freedom on a Far Shore. And this is James Kuzer, surprised me this year with his digital paintings. Did very well in this class. These are all done in Photoshop. We got the Creative Cloud a couple of years ago, and a lot of students have gravitated to it because you can get a lot more control and a lot more expression by gathering up images. This is Allison Hill's drawing series. It was done with Micron pens and watercolor washes, and she used fluid mass to create this series. Isabella Allen, there's two paintings. The one on the left went on to state this year, and the other one was a piece that I wanted to show you guys because it's very well done. This is Hannah's piece about women's equality. This is Caitlin Davis doing a painting of her boyfriend Connor. And Caitlin Davis's illustration and woodblock prints. This is a 6-foot piece. Some of Allison's graphic works. Some more of her graphic designs. This is her proposal for the yearbook cover. This went on to Scholastics and won an honorable mention. And some of her sticker work, graphics work. And her posters designed for my art department. These are two pieces that Helena Beck submitted to the Governor's Show, sculpture, and these are two other of Helena Beck's pieces. These are acrylic paintings. These are a larger size. These are about 3 feet tall, 2 feet wide. A couple of works by James Kuzer. He just turned those to me today. Keeps working. This is Betsy Schley. This is a 7-foot painting. And Betsy Schley talking about big game hunting. A couple of paintings by Betsy Schley. Another painting by Betsy Schley and some graphics work by Betsy. This is Isabella Allen, a painting of her mother in a landscape. This is Sarah Burkett. And this is Nick's piece. Nick showed up here. Mr. Dalton. Sydney Kerr. Sydney is a freshman. We took a bunch of freshmen this year. We usually keep it to juniors and seniors, but there was a lot of freshmen that were really engaged by the process of entering their work in shows. Cody Severico's digital drawings. These are done in Adobe Illustrator. They're called Polygon Portraits, one of Biggie Smalls and one of LeBron James. This is Garrett Priestley. He created this in Photoshop and then executed it with little pieces of circular plastic to build up the volume to it. Self-portrait. These are two of his graphic pieces. This is Coral Gibson. Coral as an alien, and a landscape painting that she did. This is Georgia Good, one of her paintings and one of her computer illustrations. We have a drawing by Georgia Good here, and then another painting by Georgia Good. And this is an installation piece that Georgia did for the Governor's Show also. This is Tyler's piece. He did this out of paper mache and plaster and acrylic paint. It's on display at the high school in our ceramics display case. This is Gina's Impala's, one is a computer drawing that was done in Photoshop, and the other is a pen and ink drawing. And this is Gina's photography from Mr. Lutman's digital photography class. Another one of Gina's paintings. This one, a gold key at Scholastics and for photography, and the next one also won a gold key at Scholastics. Casiana Cerrone, this is her painting Autumn and Spring, or picture, sorry, photograph Autumn and Spring. Casiana Cerrone, and Casiana Cerrone's picture. And this is also Casiana Cerrone. This is Danielle Barnhart's photographs of fungus in the woods. Aiden Dalton, he submitted 5 pieces as a freshman. This is one of his photographs. These are 2 of his photographs, a series on. And this one he did at 2 o'clock in the morning out in the woods. Another photograph from Aiden Dalton. And a photograph that Aiden took of his sister. That one won a gold key also at Scholastics. This is Nico Allen's work. Carpet, concrete, and fungus. They do texture projects, they do macros and photography. This is his sister Isabella Allen. And last is Cameron Kimball, polygon portrait from our graphics class. I would like to thank all the students that participated. This is only a small section of the work that is produced in the art department. We see about 200 to 300 students come through, and each one has to develop a portfolio for us over the course of their time in the classroom, whatever the class is, from art foundations to advanced painting to AP art. So I'm extremely proud. 3 out of the last 4 years we placed in the Governor's Show. I don't think we've ever done that before. And then Scholastics, getting the cover is a great honor, and being nationally recognized is a great honor. I'd like to thank all the students that participate and that come in every day and value work and value the language of art and have a good value system instilled by their community. So, thank you very much. Oh yeah. Allison Carver. Danielle Barnhart. Hayden Dalton. Hayden's a legacy. His brother was also top 300 in the state several years ago. Georgia Good. Sidney Kirk. Mr. Allen. Cristiano Cerrone. Coral Gibson. Tyler Manesco. I'll make sure that all these are students.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Next up, we have some athletes that I'd like to recognize for their participation in the OHSA state tournaments for their specific events. For gymnastics, we'd like to have Coach Kristen Seeley come up and introduce your athlete.
Okay, this is Sammy Tice. It's been my honor and privilege to have coached Sammy for a number of years. Her entire high school career was awesome, but this last season will be a season that she will remember forever. Sammy started her senior year out slow due to a concussion, which worried a lot of us. But she came back strong and qualified to districts in the all-around, bars, beam, and floor. She then advanced to the state meet on one of the hardest districts in the state on beam. Sammy's beam season was near perfect with no falls the entire season and scores that kept improving. She finished her season placing 7th in the state on beam and making the all-Ohio team. Congratulations, Sammy. We're all very happy.
And for wrestling, we have Coach Rich Cochran.
We just got back this past weekend from the state wrestling tournament. We had 4 qualifiers this year to the state tournament. That's the most Buckeye has had since 2003. First, we have Jared Setlet. He qualified for state at 170 pounds. Unfortunately, he tore his ACL and did not get to compete at state. He did that in a district tournament qualifying. Next, we have Anthony Ashley. Anthony is a freshman. He became the first freshman state qualifier in Buckeye history to the state tournament. And we have Jake Bartonelli. Jake is a 2-time state qualifier. He qualified as a sophomore at 106 pounds and qualified this year at 126 pounds. Jake ended up placing 4th in the state. He had 4 overtime matches. We're not sure if this is a record, but we think he may be the first person to ever win 4 overtime matches at the state tournament. It's a little stressful coaching sometimes. And then we have Michael Clark here. Michael fell just short. He lost in overtime 5-3 in the state finals. First state finalist since 2005 for Buckeye. So we're very proud of that. Coach Rapanovic, him and I work really well together. I do a lot of the paperwork, he does a lot of the actual skill stuff, and then we're always there to bounce things off of each other. Even if it happens to be in the tunnel walking out to the state semifinals when Jake and Mike were going out at the same time. And my son, who also volunteers, he goes, "You and I have been with Jake the entire tournament. We better stick together." And we're just walking out, and I thought, I've been with Mike in every match too. Should I go? And they called Jake out, so Steve and Coach Daglish from the junior high went out with him. We're not too superstitious, but yes, we are a little superstitious. I'd also like to thank their parents. Tony and Nikki Bartonelli are back there. The time and effort the parents put in. Kathy and Dwayne Sutliff are back there. They're there. Janet and Michael, Janet and Art Clark are back there, and then John Ashley. Just the time, the weekends, if you know anything about wrestling, you can end up spending 10, 12 hours in a day in a gym on a hard bleacher, and these parents are there for all the activities. So, thank you. You can show them your medals if you want.
At this time, we're going to take a short break so that we can take some photos of our award winners. Just take a stretch break while we do that. So if you are a student of the month, meet Mrs. Calvin over here. I'd like to call the meeting back to order here. We're going to continue with the treasurer's report.
I have a couple things for you. Result of the Buckeye Board of Education accept the treasurer's report as presented, including all internal budgets, amendments, certificates, and appropriations for the account monitor as on file. It's included as Appendix A. And then the tax rate for fiscal year 19, result of the Buckeye Board of Education adopt a tax rate of 62.10 for fiscal year 19, commencing July 1st, 2018, as determined by the Budget Commission as follows and illustrated in Appendix B. So the general fund outside millage will be 51.70. These are all determined from the auditor's office given to us. So emergency levy outside millage is 6.9, general fund inside millage is 3.3, fund improvement inside millage is 1, and bond retirement outside is truly 3.5, not 3.3.
A motion to accept the treasurer's report?
Motion.
Second? Second. Any further questions for our treasurer? Roll call.
Stahl?
Yes.
Averchi?
Yes.
Mattson?
Yes.
Barco?
Yes.
Kunkel?
Yes. We are at the point of the meeting for public participation. The public is invited to speak to any of the agenda items and other school topics at this time. Comments should be limited to 3 minutes. Direct questions will not be answered by the Board of Education members at this time. However, answers will be given at a later date as appropriate. Is there anyone who wishes to speak tonight? Yes.
I'm sure some of you guys are aware we did have a book fair here a couple weeks ago.
Well, actually, you have to state your name, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, Jasmine Outlander, for anyone that doesn't know me. We did have a book fair here a couple weeks ago. This was my last book fair down here at this level. But because I don't always see a lot of you guys come through, I wanted to make you aware of how many books get donated back to the library from our book fair. So our fall book fair, we donated 792 books to the library. Our spring book fair was 768. So the fall book fair was $7,000 worth of books, and the spring was $7,500. So that's a lot of books that we supply back. So I'm hoping that in the future years, I know we see a couple of you guys come through, but in future years, if you guys could make sure you come through, especially on Buckeye Day, you know, give us a hand. Do a nice job. Especially when we take over the media center and stuff, you guys aren't able to have your full meeting here.
Thank you, Jasmine. Anyone else? All right, then we'll proceed on to the superintendent's information items.
We have some presentations this evening. We'll start off with Dr. Collins.
Okay, I am going to be presenting the academic achievement section of our strategic plan. First of all, thank you to the people who participated last year. When we went through this, we had parent representatives, Ms. Scuffman was on the team, we had gifted representatives, Ms. Gandalf was on, Ms. Hartwell was on. So we had a lot of different people involved in creating this last year. We have 5 goals for academic achievement over the next 5 years. And some of these goals have some things in place that have been already in the works, so you'll see that. The first goal was to establish comprehensive and relevant programming in the curriculum to maximize student learning. These are some of the things on the left that we've already completed towards that goal, and things on the right that we're continuing to work on. So major things, establishing vertical meetings for teachers, we have teacher teams in place, we've got an adoption cycle we're following, we're looking at our assessments, and one of the big ones was getting all-day kindergarten rolling for next year. Some of the things we've got to continue to work on, working on our teacher team focus, our curriculum maps, and implementing all-day kindergarten next year, which is going to be a new challenge, and we are excited about that. The second goal we have is to develop and implement a sequential integrated K-12 technology curriculum. A key part of that was bringing on board a tech integration specialist, so we're very happy to have Mrs. Debbie working with us in that position. Some of the things that we've already completed, we developed and are implementing a K-6 technology curriculum. We need to work on the 7-12 side of that. And as you know, we've got devices rolling out. We're actually in year 4 next year. So that is building on some momentum that we already had going, but we're continuing to work on that. And in terms of technology, looking at staffing needs assessments to determine if we need additional support there. Goal 3 was the continuum of services. So this is how are we meeting the needs of all of our kids across all levels, including the following subgroups: gifted, economically disadvantaged, and students with disabilities. This is a big, meaty area here because it's a lot of moving parts, it's a lot of different departments that are affected. So we have cluster grouping in 3rd through 6th. We've added an additional day with our gifted coordinator for this year, and you've already seen Janice has been doing tremendous work with the kids. The geography bee, the spelling bee, a lot of that was already in place, but it's really picking up more momentum and getting more students involved there. Flexible groupings were already in place in 2nd and 3rd, and we've been working on expanding that through the intermediate. Grades 3 through 12, teachers receiving state-mandated HQPD. This is something that I want to highlight for us, and Janice, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but of all the districts in the county, Buckeye is one where all of our teachers who are providing gifted services, which is a lot of teachers at this point, I mean 25, would you say?
I wouldn't say that, I was thinking it was 28, but.
I was thinking 28 too, so okay, I'm going to go with 28. But all of our teachers have met their 30 hours, and in some cases 60 hours. The other districts in the county are struggling to do that, so we've managed to do that for the last 2 years, which is really good for our kids. Clean up honors placement criteria into the honors courses, and co-teaching training are things that we've also been working on, implementing co-teaching. So you can see what do we need to continue to do. We need to make sure we're placing students with fidelity, so making sure that we're meeting all students' needs by putting them in the appropriate classroom situations with the appropriate supports that they need to be successful. And again, completing staffing needs assessments to make sure that we're getting all students' needs. Goal 4 are opportunities for parents and community members to take an active role in the education of Buckeye students. I do think this is something that Buckeye should be really proud of, because I do think we do a good job with this. As a parent now and a staff member, I feel like we do provide opportunities for parents to be involved. Here you can see completed tasks. So we have a lot of activities that parents are currently involved in. We just have Real Money, Real World at the junior high, where we get tons of volunteers who come in and work the students through life events, like how much money they have for childcare and kids making decisions. We have parents and community members that come and assist with that. Invention League, room parents, parent readers. presentations, I know that Mr. Parrish at the high school with the CBI program does a wonderful job of bringing in community members to engage with the students. District events that engage the community such as Buckeye Day, and ensuring that each building and district has a Facebook group or page, which is something that we definitely got up and going this year. Next steps, you can see revisiting the idea of some community mailers or newsletters to reach populations that we still aren't reaching with our tech focus, as well as continuing to actively invite parent volunteers for these activities and additional. And goal 5, preparing Buckeye students for global citizenship in a diverse multicultural society. Some of the things that we've completed towards this end: engaging students in global issues by bringing those into the classroom. And that does not mean that we tell kids what to think about those global issues, but we teach them how to think about those global issues. And by that, I mean how to interpret critically information that is coming at them, because we have a lot of information coming at our kids these days. Continuing anti-bullying programs, which I believe Dan and Brittany are going to talk to you about. Their one program goes along those lines. And service projects at individual buildings are happening. The committee wanted to look at potential district-wide service projects or district-wide service days. Guidance curriculum is coming in April, and being intentional about the resources that we're using to bring global issues into the classroom. With that, do you have any questions?
I do.
Okay.
So this plan for next steps, is that the only things we'll focus on, or are there other things that might fit in here later on?
There are always more things that won't fit. And I think that we do need to, just like anything that we do with instruction or curriculum or any long-term plans, everything is subject to being revised on a continual basis. So definitely continuing to look at that.
So it's more open-ended than
I would say so, yeah. And I also
say it's fluid.
Fluid is a good word for that. I would also say that even though the strategic plan committees were one group, you know, I want to go back to our district leadership team again, and that's that group of the 20 people, the teachers, the guidance counselors, the principals that meet 4 times a year. You know, that group really is the group that does the work of the strategic plan and district goals, and they create their goals. So all of these things kind of come together to guide what we're doing in the district in terms of academic achievement. Thanks.
Mr. Flood.
welcome back.
Good evening, thank you. Well, I have to be honest, so from the time that I left, I had conversations. This with me, by the way, this evening is Brittany Cates. She is our school counselor. Last summer, we knew that Mrs. Campo Benedetto would be leaving for the year, and more than likely 2 years, which obviously we're going to find out tonight. But with that being said, we started interviewing, we started going through the process. We interviewed Brittany. She was one of the greatest contestants that we had for that job. Bring her in. And I said, let me tell you what you just signed up for. And so she came in from the very beginning, and she worked alongside myself and Mrs. Campo Benedetto. And one of the things that early on I said to her is I said, look, in our building, one of the things that we've strived for is, over the last few years, we were working on this anti-bullying campaign, and we were using OVACE was the program that we were using. But one of the things that we wanted to really not just hit on was, what does it mean to be a bully, and how do we stop it? But we wanted to give kids an idea of how to react to it, and then how to become better people because of the decisions that we're making, instead of becoming this bully that sometimes we hear so much about. How can we hear more about who you are and what you stand for, and becoming that person? So over the last year, we've really taken this program, and I asked Brittany, I said, what do you think we need to do? We brought our team of teachers in, we started working with it. So when I say, before I left, I talked to Brittany, I said, maybe we can go and we can present at the board. And she's like, well, that sounds like a great idea. And I tell her, I said, there's not gonna be a lot of people today. And I walked into, there being over 100 earlier, and I'm like, I was wrong. But so with that, let me introduce again Brittany, and I'm gonna have her talk about our program that we've really been working hard on this year.
Hello, I'm Brittany Keynes. So kind of going from what Mr. Flood was saying, the one program we did start the first lesson, so we do a couple lessons over the whole year, as he said. We started the first lesson based on bullying. So, maybe? Maybe.
I was supposed to be the clicker.
Yeah. That's okay. I mean, I can.
You gotta use the other clicker then.
There we go. Okay. Thank you. So we put we kicked off the year with the bullying program, like I said. So we got the students into teams. They already are broken up into 4 different teams. So we broke them down into their teams, and we said, let's have you brainstorm together. What do you think bullying is? What does that look like? So we kind of generated the ideas from them. And then we came back with the teachers, had them sit down with the teams and said, okay, what did you come up with? Let's go over this all together. And then we also shared a bullying video. If you find the time, I'd say I really encourage to watch the video. At some point, the link is in there. So then we kind of wanted to take that bullying and make it a bigger, like a more in-depth thing than just talking about bullying. Because we can talk about bullying all day, but what can we do? What can, if you look at the student, what can they do personally? So we rolled it into thinking, let's do some type of like service project. So for the second lesson, what we had them do was watch another video about a boy, a student, who actually thought of this on his own. He kind of loved soccer. He just loved it and played it all the time. And said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to collect soccer balls, and I'm going to send them to different kids in different countries that don't have that resource. So he took that upon himself and kind of got his parents to help him. So we showed our students that video of that, the message trying to be selfless, right? We're thinking of others. So what they did after that, we had a Google form. We said, fill out just one thing you really like to do. Could be anything, a sport, you like to read, something like that. So then we had them share that with the others in the team, which then we kind of rolled into our next lesson. So our third lesson that we already had, we got them into the groups, and then we said, hey, let's the groups of their likes, so similar likes. So for instance, I have on here, we like animals, okay? I like animals, you like animals. What can we do with that like to be selfless and do something for others? So they came up with some different topics, like volunteering at a pet shelter or collecting pet supplies to give to pet owners. So we just really wanted them to think of being selfless, and just having that idea of building character. So then this is what we're going to do. So we did these 3 lessons already. So the next lesson, which we're planning, will be in May, and this is a work in process. We're revamping the whole one program, so kind of learning as we go. So we just want them to understand what to be selfish. So what we want is the whole school-wide, to come up with a service project. And what we have is what we're going to plan on doing as the whole building is to work to some goal. So we would give the kids, students, a community service sheet that they could take out into the community and do service hours. And we'd like them to tie back into what they're like it. So if it means I like to read, then maybe I'll go read at the library and collect, service hours that way. Then we would collect the service sheets that they turn in, kind of maybe putting like a point system to it, and adding up all those points. So here, let's all together get these points, go out there, be selfless, do this community service, and hit a goal as a school. So that's kind of the direction we're trying to take for this next lesson, and trying just to promote that selflessness.
And I have to say again, talking about Brittany and what she's been able to bring to our school in this 1 year has been instrumental. And not only taking where in the past we were always talking about what it means to be a bully. Our kids aren't just talking about what it means to be a bully anymore. They're talking about how they can be better as human beings, how they can be selfless. And as I'm in and hearing different teachers talk, that's a common theme in our building. And I think, and my hopes is that our students will become selfless and it'll become a part of their life.
Ms. Luther.
Yes. Thank you. Oh, gosh. Can you handle it? Now I hit the clicker.
We still need that?
Yeah, I'll stay right here. But this is it right here?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So this is Buckeye Food Service Part 2, continuing on from where we left off. We started off with the Trolls, with the elementary movie night where we sold snacks, hot dogs, and my cooks came up with little troll hats that they wore when they did that. So that was an extracurricular. We did testing and breakfasting at the high school right before Christmas break, where we came in and we served them breakfast instead of lunch, and we made homemade pancakes and rosemary hash browns, and it actually went over surprisingly well. So that was a real good thing we had at the high school. Snow days are always off to, we like them as a snow day, but they really hurt our program. Unfortunately, that's not what we like to see in food service. But on a brighter note, we celebrated our 3rd annual Super Bowl tailgate party at the high school, and that's probably our biggest event of the school year, where the kids can come through and kind of have, like tailgate food, and everybody gets geared up for it. It works out really well for us. We catered various events, such as Midnight Leadership, Principal's Coffee Cart, the Superintendent's Holiday Party, and various luncheons. Our strategic plan, we're still continuing to do the student take-home bags, Pinterest, Buckeye Bucks Day. Not only did we serve food, but we were also there available for parents and questions, if they had any questions on the lunch accounts. And then we were talking about looking into a staff wellness fair for next year, something that we could be looking into. We also celebrated 100 days of school with everyone gets a sticker who purchases lunch or who receives a lunch. We're still doing Luther Farm Market, and it's the third Wednesday of each month. And January we did sweet potatoes, February Brussels sprouts, March spinach, and April's going to be tangerines. And when we did sweet potatoes, we had a sweet potato contest, but we'll get into that in a minute. We also had Groundhog Day, and anyone who received lunch got a groundhog tattoo. And of course the whole district celebrated Mardi Gras. They got a free treat with their lunch, and then we had pancakes and sausage at the high school, and pancakes at the elementary as well. And here we go, lunch with the superintendent. That's what the grand prize was with the coloring contest for the sweet potato with Luther Farm Market. So that's where we chose 2 children who colored the picture and submit it, and there's 2 children from each grade. And so they submit it, and then they're chosen the winners, and we come over here and we pick them up in the school bus and we drive them all the way through the parking lot over to the board office. They have lunch with Mr. Morgan, and then we pick them up and bring them all right back. And so they have a lot of fun with that. That's a fun day. That's one of Mr. Morgan's favorite days, I'm sure. And then we wanted to invite you to join us for our St. Patrick's Day. We're going to be doing on Friday the corned beef, cabbage, carrots, red skin potatoes, and the shamrock treat for $4. So if anybody's interested in it, let us know. We can make it to go. And that's it. Any questions? Oh, yeah, I forgot this. We celebrated Dr. Seuss Day, too. And we had thing 1, thing 2, thing 3, and thing 4. And they also have little head things that they made and more. So it's fun. That's it. Happy St. Patrick's Day.
It's hard to follow, isn't it?
Yeah.
I just got a couple of items I'd like to touch base with you guys. First off, this year with our bus inspections, we're actually ahead of schedule a little bit. Our first annual bus inspection this year is in 2 weeks. The highway patrollers moved everything up, and they've started. March 26th is our first annual inspection. We have 8 buses ready to go. We're actually working on April's buses already. We're that far ahead. So we feel pretty good about the first 2 inspections are going to go very well this year. So we are ahead of that. The other thing I'd like to touch base with you is I've been talking to a friend of mine. He's a commercial truck teacher over at the Career Center, Tom Jackson. And we're going to try to implement next year in his class some components of the school bus that are never taught at a Career Center level. He does a lot of suspension, air brakes, chassis work on a truck level basis. These juniors and seniors are taught that every year. They leave that class, they graduate, and they go into an entry level, into a trucking company or something, and get a job like that. So I got to thinking about, nobody ever teaches anything with a school bus. We've got all these school buses running around all these different districts and everything. And the one thing that they never teach is the electrical components of a school bus, such as the micro switches in the windows, the roof hatches, the stop arm, that kind of thing. So I've been talking with Tom. He's going to get the carpenter class to set up a couple of displays. I'm going to take him a couple of old windows that work with the switches, and next year in his class, he's going to teach them how to repair those windows, which means when that senior graduates, there's a real good chance that he could probably go right into a school district and become a mechanic at a little bit higher level than a standard senior with just brakes and chassis work and that kind of thing. So he was pretty excited about that when we approached him on that. So we got a little bit to go on that, but he's going to be working on that with me, and hopefully we can teach those juniors and seniors, and they should be able to pick up a job somewhere, hopefully. So that's about all I got for transportation. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Knoll. Just kind of wrapping up with all the student recognition as well as the programs that we are offering. A lot of exciting things happening at Buckeye, and just commend everyone for their role in that and for the opportunity for our kids to be exposed to some amazing opportunities. So thank you all for that. The next item on the informational is we have our last late arrival tomorrow morning, Wednesday, March 14th. And then we have our board work session on Monday, March 19th at 6 o'clock at the board office. And spring break is coming up. We have March 26th through April 2nd is spring break. And just a reminder on our priority makeup days for our 6th Calamity Day, we are extending the day. We're adding 30 minutes to each school day starting April 9th through April 20th. And that says 2019, but that is probably going to be 2018. Any questions on informational items? Superintendent's recommendations?
Yes.
Item A, approval of Buckeye School Spirit Pride Strategic Plan. Resolve the Buckeye Board of Education approve the Spirit Pride portion of the Buckeye Local Schools 5-year strategic plan as submitted, Appendix C. Item B, approval of pupil transportation agreement. Resolve the Buckeye Board of Education approve a contract with Suburban School Transportation Company for a special education student within the Buckeye District for the 2017-18 school year, Appendix D. Item C, approval of student curriculum. Resolve the Buckeye Board of Education approve the principles of biomedical science curriculum designed for grades 9 through 12 as submitted by Dr. Christina Collins, Appendix E. Item D, approval of student curriculum. Resolve the Buckeye Board of Education approve the biomedical science human body systems curriculum designed for grades 9 through 12 as submitted by Dr. Christina Collins, Appendix F. Item E, approval of student curriculum. Resolve the Buckeye Board of Education approve the automation and robotics curriculum designed for grades 6 through 8 as submitted by Dr. Christina Collins, Appendix G. Item F, approval of student curriculum. Resolve the Buckeye Board of Education approve the medical detectives curriculum designed for grades 6 through 8 as submitted by Dr. Christina Collins, Appendix H. And item G, approval of student curriculum. Resolve the Buckeye Board of Education approve the design and modeling curriculum designed for grades 6 through 8 as submitted by Dr. Christina Collins, Appendix I. Item H, approval of Kent State University MOU agreement. Resolve the Buckeye Board of Education approve the MOU for the College Credit Plus CCP partnership agreement with Kent State University for the 18-19 school year. A copy of the MOU will be on file in the Treasurer's Office Appendix J. Item I, approval of Cuyahoga Community College MOU agreement. Resolve the Buckeye Board of Education approve the MOU for the College Credit Plus CCP partnership agreement with Cuyahoga County Community College for the 18-19 school year. A copy of the MOU will be on file in the Treasurer's Office, Appendix K. Item J, approval of Ashland University College MOU agreement. Resolve the Buckeye Board of Education approve the MOU for the College Credit Plus CCP partnership agreement with Ashland University for the 18-19 school year. A copy of the MOU will be on file in the Treasurer's Office, Appendix L. Item K, approval of ESC service amended agreement. Resolved that the Buckeye Board of Education approve the amended service agreement with Medina County ESC in the amount of $10,440 for psychology services and technology assisted services. This agreement is in effect for the remaining portion of the 2018 fiscal year, Appendix M. Item L, approval of ESC service amended agreement. Resolved the Buckeye Board of Education approve the amended service agreement with Medina County ESC in the amount of $14,000 for special education aid services. This agreement is in effect for the remaining portion of the 2018 fiscal year, Appendix N. Item M, approval of the Armstrong Commercial Service Agreements. Resolve the Buckeye Board of Education approve the commercial service agreement for Buckeye Schools, campus phone and fax lines, effective 3/14/2018 through 3/14/2021, Appendix O.
All right, we'll take a motion for those.
Motion.
Second?
A second.
Any questions?
Yeah, a couple of questions. Dr. Collins, would you like to give us a tutorial on how to put together the 200 and some pages of...
I know it's a lot. If you'll recall, this is with our agreement with the Career Center, so these are actually the Career Center's courses. This is what they're paying for us to do, and Mr. Morgan and I just wanted to get it on record that these were the curriculum for this program. So 3 of the programs are things that we've actually been teaching, and we probably should have had this approved before we put the classes in place. So really, we're just cleaning up this process at this point. The only new course on here was the biomedical human body systems, and that's the new one that we're offering next year at the high school. The rest of them are the things that we've already got in place. So it's entirely possible that the Career Center has at some point in time approved these curricula, but we just want it on the record here that we're approving them as well.
Yes.
ESC changes in these contracts. Is that something that we expect to be ongoing? Just for this year?
It's dependent upon the specific needs that we have. So the psychology services for additional $40, I believe, for those services. And then technology assistant services is the increase in hours. We did not, we have ESC hours for technology that we are hiring a person there, and they are basically filling a full-time job now. We have not replaced Carl's position, so it's actually that position now is working at a much lower rate than we were when Carl was there. We have 2 people in our department still. So we've not added services, we just moved the cost from our district to the ESC, and it is at a lower rate.
So that would be
potentially, as far as I know for next year, we're still, we've not made any decisions on that. And then the $14,000 for special education aid services is at those are parapros at the MRDD for four students?
Yes. We've had some new students go in that need one-on-one services. DD program working on.
Any other questions? All right then. Roll call.
Stahl?
Yes.
Barker?
Yes.
Mattson?
Yes.
Abarchi?
Yes.
Stoneman?
Yes. New business.
New business, item B, which is now item A, first reading of the following policies. Resolve the Buckeye Board of Education consider the policy listed below as presented. Copies of the complete policies attached to board members' agendas as Appendix Q, and that's 5136 wireless communication devices. Item C, which is now item B, final reading of the following policies. Resolve the Buckeye Board of Education consider the policy listed below as presented. Copies of the complete policies attached to board members' agendas as Appendix R. 5336, care of students with diabetes, and 6600, deposit of public funds, cash collection points.
All right, motion for the final reading of the policies. We'll accept the motion at this time.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
any questions on these two policies? Roll call.
Barty,
Yes.
Stahl,
Yes.
Mattson,
Yes.
Barker,
Yes.
Yes.
Personnel, item A, certified personnel, resolve Buckeye Board of Education approve the following personnel items as presented. Number one, revised maternity leave of absence. Resolve the Buckeye Board of Education approve a revised maternity leave of absence for Sarah Harrison, 5th grade teacher. Ms. Harrison's approximate date for her maternity leave has been revised to March 15th, 2018, rather than the previous listed date of April 30th, 2018. Ms. Harrison plans to return to her position approximately 6 weeks later. Item 2, employment. Resolve the Buckeye Board of Education approved to hire Lindsay Valente as a Buckeye High School Project Lead the Way teacher for the 2018-19 school year. Ms. Valente will be paid at Master's Step 18 negotiated agreement. Item 3, leave of absence. Resolve the Buckeye Board of Education accept the leave of request from Tonya Campo-Benedetto, counselor at Buckeye Junior High School. Ms. Campo-Benedetto's extended leave of absence will be effective for the 2018-19 school year. And item number 4, extended family leave request. Resolve the Buckeye Board of Education accept the extended family leave request from Ashley Strang, high school physical education teacher. Ms. Strang has requested a total of 12 weeks FMLA leave and return to work on May 9th, 2018. Item B, certified substitutes. Resolve the Buckeye Board of Education approve the attached list of certified substitutes tutors recommended by the Nevada County Schools E&C to work on an as-needed basis for the 2017-18 school year, Appendix S. Item C, classified substitutes. Resolve the Buckeye Board of Education approve the attached list of classified substitutes to work on an as-needed basis for the 2017-18 school year, and the position is Cook Martha Barniak. Item D, supplemental contract approval. Resolve the Buckeye Board of Education approve the following supplemental contracts pending certifications as well as resignations effective for the 2017-18 school year as listed. Jennifer Foster, track coach, contract for $1,500 paid by track boosters.
A motion for these personnel items?
So moved.
Second,
Second.
any question or comment on these items? Roll call.
Mattson,
Yes.
Barker,
Yes.
Barty,
Yes.
Stahl,
Yes.
Yes. Donations?
Resolve the Buckeye Board of Education accept and recognize the following donations to Buckeye local schools as presented. Item A, donation, 5 books, timeline of Medina County history from Stephen D. Hambley to be placed in the Buckeye local schools library for students' use. Estimated donation cost is $80.
A motion, please?
So moved.
Second,
Second.
roll call.
Barty,
Yes.
Stahl,
Yes.
Mattson,
Yes.
Barker,
Yes.
Stahl.
Yes. It's time for board comments. Mr. Mattson?
Thank you. Thank everyone for being here tonight. You started out really fast. So this last week I was able to go to Sir's reading group on Chinese New Year. It was absolutely wonderful. See these kids out there reading, talking a little bit about Chinese New Year, and find out she's got some hams in the class also. And they were very good readers. Thank you.
Mr. Barco?
Nothing more.
Mrs. Bocarchi?
Well, I just would like to thank all of the teachers and the students who came to really show us just the abilities that they have. I was so impressed with the art and digital art students. It was very impressive. And I do know I appreciate very much the time and work that our athletes put in. Unless you have a grandson or two who's in youth wrestling, you really don't realize how much time is put into sitting in a gym watching wrestling. So it is pleasant, and I'm sure these folks have put a lot of time in. So I appreciate that, and I congratulate the young lady, Sammy Tice, for her accomplishment in gymnastics. That was wonderful. And of course, to all of our students of the month.
Mr.
Did I
Small.
miss anyone? I thought I did all. Other than geography scholars. Yes, excellent.
Everything that Denise said, I'd like to say as well. But you know, the coaches, the teachers, they're putting the time there. You know, thank you very much. We have some talented students, whether it's in gymnastics, wrestling, art, spelling, geography, all that stuff. And 24 too, from wrestling. Those kids are pretty good. They're kind of learning now. So. But thank everyone for coming. Jasmine, thank you for everything you do in the book fair. We really appreciate it. The Salt family did set a record this year for purchasing. So if you would like to know that, it's probably the new layout and how smooth it went when we walked in.
Yeah.
We had to walk by more books to get to the checkout line this morning. So, nice job, way to go. Thank you for everything you've done. Thank you.
I'll just reiterate the comments of everyone here. It is really wonderful to see student achievement, and that's like the highlight of the board meeting, is to be able to see our students and what they've been able to achieve. Thank you to those who gave reports tonight. I know that always takes a little bit of extra to put that together and get us a report to something. Jasmine, as a grandma, I spent my fair amount there also. Thankfully, I only brought 3 of the grandchildren instead of 6. Yeah, but that is wonderful. I had no idea that you donate that many books back to the school libraries, so that's really good.
And that's just the library, that wasn't the teachers.
That's wonderful. All right, we do have a need for executive session tonight for the purposes of discipline and security. And we won't take any action after that. So may I have a motion to go into executive session?
Motion.
Second? Second. Roll call.
Manson?
Yes.
Averchi?
Yes.
Stahl?
Yes.
Arco?
Yes.
Dumpling?
Yes. Thank you everyone for attending.
Yeah.